Shavua Tov. This is Motzei Shabbat Parshat Naso 5776. In this week's Parsha, we read of the Birkat Kohanim, the priestly blessing. Yivarechacha Hashem v'yishmerecha, Yair Hashem panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisa Hashem panav elecha v'yasim lecha shalom, the threefold blessing that the Kohanim bless the people. In the days of the temple, this was done in the temple of Jerusalem, and we're told that this was a moment of divine revelation. Hashra'at HaShechina, God caused His presence to dwell on the Jewish people through the agency, through the channel of the Kohanim. And this is the source for the custom not to look at the hands of the Kohanim when they're blessing the people, because a blinding white light of God's blessing came out from their fingers and could injure one's eyesight. And so to this day we have the custom, even when we don't have this blinding white light, not to look at the hands of the Kohanim. But there's more to it than that. The Rambam, Maimonides, in his code, says as follows: Kishiyu HaKohanim mevarchim et ha'am lo yabitu ba'am v'lo yasichu da'atan ela yiyu eineihem keneged ha'aretz ke'omed b'tfilah. When the Kohanim bless the people, the Kohanim should not look at them, should not look at the people, nor should the Kohanim become unfocused, but their eyes should be directed downwards as if they were standing in prayer. And the Rambam continues, Ve'en adam rashai listakel b'fnei ha'kohanim b'shah sheheinu mevarchim et ha'am kedei shelo yasichu da'atam. But one may not look at the faces of the Kohanim when they are blessing the people, so that it seems that the correct reading here is that the Kohanim will not be distracted. So Rabbi Soloveitchik suggests. But the people should have in mind to hear the blessing and direct their attention to the Kohanim and not look at their faces. So Rabbi Soloveitchik says here that the Rambam's rationale, and I'm taking this from Rabbi Avishai David's very fine work, Darash Yosef, that the Rambam's concern is heseh hada'at, causing a distraction for the Kohanim that would then interfere with their concentration and disturb the blessing and disturb the divine influx. So that's as far as I would take from Rabbi Soloveitchik here. But the point that I would like to draw from that is the idea that the people who are listening and are receiving the blessing of the Kohanim have a responsibility not to create a distraction for the Kohanim. This may also explain why when the Kohanim are covered with their talitot, they cover themselves and we can't see their face or their hands, then it is customary, especially in the Ashkenazic custom, that the congregation cover themselves also. So not only are they covering themselves so as not to look at the hands of the Kohanim, but they also prevent themselves from becoming a distraction for the Kohanim. And so here what we have is the purpose of the Kohanim's blessing is to bring the presence of God into the world. And in order to do that, we have a partnership between the Kohanim and the people. The Kohanim must focus to bring the blessing in. The people must face the Kohanim and receive that blessing and do nothing that would disturb the flow of that blessing, because it's their job to make sure that the Kohanim can concentrate and that they shouldn't disturb the Kohanim's concentration. Because it's not them and us, it's all one team. We are the people of Hashem. Hashem wants to merge with us, and we want to have that as a seamless creation. As God sends His blessing, His presence into the world to dwell with us. So, the point that I'd like to draw from this is that we're all on the same team. We all have one goal. We're on what I would call the K team, the Kedusha team, the team of sanctity, the team of holiness, the team of God's presence. And we're all working for the same idea. And as the Parsha emphasizes in many other ways, everybody has his position to play. Every person has his or her position to play in, and I don't use the word play frivolously. Each person has a role. Each person has a job. Each person has a task. Each person has a mission. And you don't want a whole team, if we say analogously, a whole team of first base players or third base players. We need a person in each of these positions, and you don't expect the right fielder to come and push the pitcher off the mound and say, I want to be a pitcher also. Everybody does what they're supposed to do. The Kohanim are the channel, the people are the receptacle. Together we bring the presence of God into the world. So what we do matters. And what, as my father-in-law says, what you do affects others, and both positively and negatively. The Baal Shem Tov explains, Kol Yisrael arevim zeh bazeh. All Jewish people are guarantors one for the other. We're all responsible one for the other. And he says there are two basic modes here. And he says, Im atzadik matchil bihirhur avera, av sheino gomer ba'asiyah mamash, hu gorem la'asiyah chas v'shalom b'adam beinoni. If a righteous person, a tzaddik, has a thought of doing a sin, even though he stops himself and he doesn't do it, he nevertheless, that thought can cause an average person to sin. So it's not just what you do affects others, it's not just what you say affects others, but even what we think affects others. The fact is, we all have brain waves, we are all transmitters, we're all sending out a message. We think to ourselves, but we fool ourselves if we think that what I think doesn't affect someone else. Even what I think affects someone else. And in reverse, the Baal Shem Tov says that if the average person actually does a sin, the vibration of that can enter the mind of a righteous person and give him a bad thought. Because we're all one. The Jewish people are like a long rope. If you shake it at one end, it's going to shake up at the top. And you shake it at the top, eventually that wave will reach the bottom. And therefore, the Baal Shem Tov says, when after the sin of the golden calf, Moses turns to God and says, Mecheni na misifrecha, erase me from your book, because Moshe thought that he had a bad thought, and that's what caused the Jewish people to commit the sin of the golden calf. But God said to him, let me correct you, it's not true. Whatever thought you had, it was only a result of what they started. Their action caused that thought in your mind. So if the Jewish people sees themselves, we see ourselves as one body, not as individual people who have nothing to do with each other, then we'll understand that what we do positively and God forbid otherwise, affects others. Even things that are done behind closed doors affects others. Even things that are done behind the closed doors of my mind affects others. And so the Torah teaches us that not only are we looking for purity of action and speech, but we're even looking for purity of thought. May Hashem bless us to rise to the great mission that He has placed before us, and that through the purification and sanctification of our actions, speech, and thought, we send out the broadcast and create a resonance in the entire world, Bikablu chulam et ol malchutecha, that the whole world will seek to serve Hashem. Shavua tov.